Hey folks, David Stewart here. Let's talk a little bit more about Avengers Endgame and the problems with Thanos' motivations and goals. This video will contain some spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie and you care about spoilers, just vamoose and come back after you've seen the movie and we'll talk about it then. This video is a little bit of a follow-up because I made a previous video on this when the other Avengers movie came out, Infinity War, debunking Thanos' motivations in that movie. What he wanted to do was to eliminate half of the life in the universe so that the other half of the life in the universe could thrive. This idea really comes from a guy named Thomas Robert Malthus, who was an 18th century Enlightenment era, I don't know what to call him, a philosophaster. I think he was an Anglican minister, among other things. Anyway, he conjured up this idea that the food supply grows linearly while the population increases geometrically, meaning it doubles. So first of all, that hasn't ever really been observed. Famines throughout history are the result of extreme events, not some carrying capacity in the immediate environment. And indeed, if you look at cities like ancient Rome that grew beyond the ability of the surrounding countryside to ship food into them, they had food shipped overseas in order for the city to grow beyond its normal capacity. Meaning that those other places where they were getting food could make plenty of excess food. They weren't at their carrying capacity either. Anyway, you could go on and on with all the different evidence for why this doesn't exist. But even if you take the premise to be true that, the population grows geometrically and will outstrip the resources, the food resources, or whatever resources you want, right? Like maybe you're thinking instead of food like oil or some kind of energy resource. If you eliminate half of the life in the universe, you've only kicked the can down the road 30 years. Because 30 years is the time it takes for the human populace to double. And if you assume aliens are somewhere in that same area, then boom, you've only delayed the inevitable by 30 years. You've only delayed the consumption of the resources by 30 years. You haven't solved the problem. So as time goes to infinity, you see that it's a problem that actually can't be solved. Now, if you're looking at other life like grass, if you eliminate half the grass, you'll have all that grass replaced within like a week. As long as there's water, right? You mow your lawn like every week. You're like reducing the grass by half. So people take a little bit longer to grow. Everything else would bounce back quite quickly. Basically meaning that the premise is completely stupid, even if you accept it. Eliminating half the life in the universe would not work. Now, in this newest movie, again, no protagonists actually address this as a bad motivation. They never have any dialogue. They never talk about how Thanos was wrong to do this, how it was stupid, how it was short-sighted. Of course, they want to bring back everyone that they lost, so they have a personal motivation to bring back the people that Thanos killed, but they have no intellectual reason. They don't come up with any reason for what Thanos did actually not being correct, which leads me to believe that on some level, the filmmakers, the Russo brothers at least, might actually believe in the Malthusian calculus, or whatever you want to call it. I consider Thomas Robert Malthus an IYI, an intellectual yet idiot, and I think his entire idea was just conjured out of the abyss. That's my opinion on him. Even in the final act, you have Thanos come back from the past, and his reaction to, the Avengers going through time and collecting all the Infinity Stones to have Hulk snap his fingers and bring everyone back is the problem is that people remember what they've lost. So all of a sudden he acknowledges the terrible process cost, right? Which is a whole nother thing that you can discuss, is the difference between goals and process costs. Thanos views the ultimate goal of having life thrive as being worth the process cost of killing people, but then he sees the process cost of people are miserable because they can't forget what they've lost. So his solution is to level all life to the ground and make new life that will thrive without the memory of what it's lost. And maybe you could see the problem with that, which is that just like the grass growing back in a week, you haven't solved the long-term problem of limited resources if you accept the premise that there's some kind of limit on resources that life expands to and then ends up starving or dying. So you still haven't solved that problem. You've, again, only kicked the can down the road. Consider that the Earth is billions of years old, and that we've had multiple extinction events. We had an extinction event that wiped out the dinosaurs 60 some odd million years ago, and life here on Earth is quite thriving. And 60 million years is is no sneeze, but geologically it's not that long, right? If the Earth is 5 billion years old, 60 million years is not that long, and certainly 30 years is not even the blink of an eye. 30 years is nothing. So 30 years to reduce the population by half and have it grow back is nothing. To have him level it to the ground, well, you probably have life teeming again within, not that much time, maybe a million years, which again, in a geological, in deep time, is really not that long at all. So once again, his motivations are all over the place. Now, some people have said, well, he's the Mad Titan. Yeah, he is the Mad Titan. He's crazy. But no one really treats him that way in the movie. They treat him very seriously. And he's no one ever refutes him as like, Thanos, this is crazy and stupid. Which leads me back to the original comic arc, which really had him obsessed with a manifestation of death. And wanting to impress her by killing half the life in the universe. Now, of course, you couldn't kill all the life in the universe if you wanted to impress death, because what would happen? Well, there'd be no more death because there'd be nothing else living. So you make a sacrifice of half the life to death, knowing that in 30 years it'll be completely replenished. So that's an interesting thought right there, is that he seems to acknowledge that reality, at least on some level in the comics, but doesn't really acknowledge it in this one. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about with this particular video. They still haven't solved the problem. They haven't even addressed it. None of the protagonists have any problem with his motivations. It's completely a personal quest to retrieve that which was lost and to restore the things which were taken, not because it was stupid to lose them in the first place, but because it was painful to lose them. They never really bring that up, which makes me think that the filmmakers on some level believe that I don't know, that set of premises to be true. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you want to see and hear in the future down below in the comment section. Newest book, Crown of Sight, is out now in all major retailers, so you can buy it online if you want to, and have a great day.